All right, our next question is from Michael. He's asking, I noticed in the movements to the top of the backswing that the left hip flexor is beginning to turn in. Can you talk a little bit about the proper movement of the left hip flexor and how we go about creating this? All right, Lauren, maybe you want to grab the bamboo fighting wand and let's demonstrate these movements for him.
Awesome. What a great question.
I'll take this, actually, let me borrow this first. I'll give you this. The first thing we have to look at when we look at this movement is where the pressure is coming from or where the energy is coming from. So when we look at the dantian or the lower dantian, or you might hear the term hara, we're talking about the absolute center of gravity within the body. So envision for a second, if I made myself into a plank or really rigid, where I would balance would be right here. So this is my center, and this is where the pressure of the movement comes from. So that's the first thing we have to understand. So maybe you want to demonstrate, I'll grab this, demonstrate the Swiss ball backswing. So the first thing you'll notice here is that this is engaged. The pressure in the stomach, do it again. As she winds up, there's leverage being created. One more time. Good. And now let's show them breaking the stick. So I'm going to hold this up over your head. Good. I'll go a little bit further.
Just imagine, as you're seeing this, if she had to break that stick, or if you had to break that stick or shaft that Alex has, how strong you would get up there.
And good. Okay, so when we look at this movement of the backswing, we have to look at it not as static positions, or can I get my left hip flexor in the right position, because the backswing is a movement of leverage. So each movement is going to be different based on the amount of leverage that she needs. So go ahead and do this again, but show maybe like a little baby wedge shot. So if I'm here and she draws this back, good. You'll notice that the left hip flexor doesn't turn in as much. Go ahead and do it again. Boom, good. Okay, so now let's look at if she had to hit a high, hard driver, what that would look like. I'm up here, good. Bang, good. Notice, you might even see that she creates so much leverage that the left heel gets pulled up off the ground. Let's take a look at a couple pictures here. We've got Jack Nicklaus at the top of his backswing. Notice the left heel lift. As we create leverage to the top of the backswing, something is going to have to turn or get wound up. And if we create leverage for a little shot, there's a little turn. Big shot, like Jack in that driver, so much leverage that the energy going this way, or the width and the strength to the top of the backswing, pulls this left heel up off the ground. But he's not trying to lift his left heel independently, and he's not trying to turn his left hip flexor independently. The backswing is a movement of leverage to the amount of energy you need to put into the back of the ball and send out in that direction.
Yeah, great. That's great. One thing I would add to that, just from a program perspective, is we talk about, you can see it from here, when we go to the top, the ribs are drawing this up. This hip flexor turning in with strength. So the hips, if you want to use those words, are coming in level, because we also have it set up correctly, like you learned in chapter 1 and 2 of how we set up the energy or the dantian at the stance. But this is coming in here, squeezing in while this is going up. And the two forces, this way and this way, cause the Swiss ball to go up in between. One thing to keep in mind was the hip flexor, just like Alex said, as we're going up here, this is squeezing and turning in. If I relax the hip flexor, this muscle, right, relax, look what happens. It collapses everything and almost causes me to wilt or lose all speed. So as this is turning in, yes, the more we pull on the rib, revs up, the more it'll give the look of the heel being driven up, because the whole thing is being built for leverage back down, just like you said, into impact, but also built to where we're kicking the soccer ball or where we're kicking this golf shot to, in a sense. Great job.
Great. Thanks, Michael.